What's up, guys? This is Showtime's Fight Forum. I'm your host, Showtime, of course. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, comment. Also follow me on all my social medias at Showtime Sanders. So today, I'm excited. I'm super excited because the heavyweight championship of the world is on the line this week. I'm hype. We have a rematch with Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic. I've been excited for this since it was announced. The first fight, I'm not gonna say it necessarily lived up to the hype, just because it was pretty much a beating after the first round. But I mean, there's just so many dynamics to this fight that just makes it so interesting for this time around. So let's just go down a rabbit hole of the buildup of the fight. All right, Stipe hasn't fought anybody not named DC since Francis. All right, so Francis, and then he's fought DC 3 consecutive times. I mean, that's a very tough matchup. We know DC is one of the greatest to ever do it. Strong wrestler, he has knockout power, and I mean, he has great volume as well. And obviously he lost. He got knocked out the first fight and then ended up knocking him out the next fight. And then the third fight, we finally, saw a decision that Stipe came out on top. Now, how much better has Stipe gotten since the Francis fight? I honestly believe he has gotten better. I think he learned from that knockout from DC. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and say he didn't think he could get knocked out, because he has been TKO'd before and has been dropped before by JDS. But I can say, once you take Francis punches, you kind of feel a little cocky about it and be like, I could take anybody's shot. Kind of disrespected DC a little bit, and DC obviously caught him and slept him. But after that, man, not to say he hasn't been rocked by DC in the third or second fight either, because he did, but he's more aware. His defense is fabulous. It's always been fabulous. I mean, his cardio, we've seen that he can go 5 rounds multiple times already. And he also adjusts mid-fight, which is impressive, because the second fight with DC, everybody knows, DC was honestly dominating that fight until he switched up the game plan and started going to the body and eventually got the finish. So we know IQ-wise, Stipe is amongst the best in the world, period, pound for pound. We know skill-wise, he can knock anybody out. We also know he's a strong wrestler. We also know he has good cardio. So this is a very, very tough fight for Francis to win, just like the first fight. But let's also put this in Francis' perspective. When they first fight, he was still extremely new to the game. And quite frankly, he kind of still is. But that was years ago. And after that, he also was kind of going down. He also lost after they both have something in common. After they fought each other, they both lost. He lost in a very uneventful fight versus Derek Lewis, which was interesting because we all know Francis as a guy that's just going from the go. He's going to throw haymakers, and he's going to try to kill you, basically. That fight, he was tentative. And I didn't know if that was okay, he's trying to change his style, because that obviously didn't work with Stipe. And maybe he's trying to show this brand new version of, I could be patient and go for the knockout. But he was a little too patient and did absolutely nothing for 3 rounds, and everybody went to sleep. But, boy, let me tell you, after that terrible showing, this man has been on a tear. A tear I don't know if I've ever seen before. He's fought him 4 times. He has 4 straight knockouts. And guess what the total time of those 4 knockouts is? 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So imagine knocking 4 dudes out in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Bro, that's not even, that's barely half of the round. And it's not like he's knocking out anybody. He's not just knocking out unranked dudes or 15th ranked dudes. He knocked out Junior Dos Santos, Rosenstruck, Cain Velasquez, and I'm almost forgetting the last one. Who was the last one he knocked out? And Curtis Blades, who's very, very good. I mean, come on, man. That. Obviously, that's why I respect Francis, because Francis was very close to being on a 3-fight losing streak, and everybody forgetting the hype, to him saying, nah, bro, I'm still that dude. I would knock anybody out just by touching you. Now, with that, he obviously earned a title shot. There's nobody else in the division that deserves it over, Francis. But, I mean, what have we seen, though? He's only fought in 2.5 minutes in 4 fights in a few years. How much better has he gotten? We already knew he could knock people out. So, I mean, are they impressive? Of course. But have we learned anything to know that he can beat Stipe? Absolutely not. Everything is still questionable. His wrestling, we don't know. He better be practicing. I would assume he's been practicing. He's very athletic. He should be able to learn, but did he learn? We don't know. His cardio was awful, awful in that fight. Granted, a lot of that was also for another reason, his pace. He had an awful pace. He went out there to try to kill this dude. Stipe once you go against the elite of the elite, you have to adjust your skill set. You have to adjust your game plan. You're not going to always be able to knock these dudes out in 30 seconds. Stipe was one of those guys he couldn't do it to. And after that, he was washed. I mean, I think the 4th round, he didn't land a single punch. I think he got outstruck like 80-0. How did that even happen? And the fight didn't even get stopped. So that's another issue. Wrestling, cardio, pace, and headhunting. He was literally just trying to knock this dude out. Go for the body a little bit. Like, did you switch it up? But none of these things we've seen in his previous fights. We don't know. He might be the same. It might be different. So this week is, once again, it's going to be very, very confusing on which version. I mean, what kind of fighter we're going to see when it comes to Francis. I hope he's learned. He say he has learned, but a lot of people say a lot of things. But then once they get into the fight, is he going to go right back and charging at him, trying to, throw nothing but haymakers, and he's just going to get rope-a-dope the whole time? I don't know. I'm excited for it, though, because we all know at the end of the day, Stipe can still do what he did last time and actually land and knock him out. And then next thing you know, we have a new world champion, and he's fighting Jon Jones. But like I said, that's kind of my breakdown for this fight, or at least the previous. This is how I envision the fight going. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I've also been right. But this is how I see the fight going. I think as soon as we go in there, I think Francis is going to be very, very cautious. I personally think that he's actually going to counter-strike. I don't think he's going to lead in there and just start trying to lead the dance like he did the first time. I think he's going to try to lure Stipe into feeling safe enough to throw strikes. And then I think he's going to unleash a crazy combo that he normally does. It's going to be very wild punches that will eventually land and honestly rest in peace Stipe. That is going to be my prediction. Do I actually see that happening? Yes, absolutely, because I just said it. But I can also see Stipe wrestling him and beating the brakes off of him and getting the stoppage this time, or submitting him. He might get his first submission. So we will see. And then also with that fight, I want to do a quick breakdown. We got Vicente Luque fighting Tyron Woodley. Interesting, very interesting fight. One thing that we do know is that Vicente will go smack at everybody. He's not scared of a single human being. He don't care about being punched in the face. He will stand in that pocket, and he will throw haymakers as well. He will throw body shots. He will tear you up. Tyron Woodley has honestly been awful. There's no other way to put it. He will admit that he's been awful. He's been I would say one of the worst fighters on the UFC roster the past 3 fights. I don't know what's happened. I don't know who he's become, but he's been awful. If anybody's going to bring that old dog out, the dude that can literally knock anybody out, one of the greatest 170-pounders we've seen, it will be Vicente, because Vicente's not going to be scared, and he will go smack, and he will stand forward and unleash a lot of punches and kicks. So this is going to pretty much tell me everything I need to know, even though I think I've already made my conclusion on Tyron. I think Tyron's done. But this will 100% also tell us, Tyron, you need to retire, focus on your family, your kids, and, your rap career, your acting career, and just, live your life, man. You're just ruining your legacy. But if there is a hint of that old Tyron, we will see it this week. I'm 100% believe that. And lastly, I want to say I'm very, very sad, just like everybody else, about Ortega and Volkovsky. That's I was really looking forward to it, and I wanted to do a breakdown, but we'll have to push that back for another week. But once again, tell me, guys, what your prediction is. Do you think Stipe is going to be and still, and we're going to get a Jon Jones and Stipe, even though that's my ideal fight. That's the fight I actually want to see, is Stipe versus Jon Jones, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, fighting the greatest of all time in a showdown. That would be fire. But tell me what you guys think. Do you think Tyron's done? Please tell me in the comments. DM me. It don't really matter. We can have a discussion later. But this is Showtime's Fight Form. Thank you guys for tuning in.